had a little park. Somebody had a bat and somebody had a ball, and we played baseball. Loved the game. And then we played, other games we played was marbles. And we had this game called Bus Hole. It was a hole in the ground, and you had the marbles, and you would say 2 in, and the idea was to drop the marbles, and you can only have 2 go in. And if 2 went in, you won. If 3 went in, you lost. If only 1 went in, then you could have, if you had another turn, you'd put 1 more in. And I loved that game. And I used to keep my marbles in a big can, and it was always nice to have a lot of marbles because, I played the game pretty well. And there was a high school, you had 5 holes, you had 1, 2, 3, yeah, and you had to play the game. And then there was bang wall, and then there was fish. And another thing we liked growing up was making our own kites. And Kohala has a nice, strong, steady wind. And the school grounds, which is close by, had a huge open back, big yard, a big field in the back. And it was fun to just make kites, simple kites. And we used a string and bamboo and for a newspaper. And for paste, we just got rice from the pot and mashed it with water and made it into a paste. And we used that for pasting the newspaper on whatever shape kites we wanted. And we tied old rags to steady the kite. And for string, oh my goodness, we had all the string we wanted because the plantation had this huge chute in what we call a sugar room, and they had these bags, burlap bags, that went underneath and whoop, and it got filled with 80 pounds of sugar. Zap, and then it went through a sewing machine. Zzz, 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 zzz. So there were rolls of string. And we'd go down there on a Sunday when the mill was closed or something, and we'd get a couple of balls of string. And then we tie it to our kites, go up to the school grounds, and just let it fly. And then we'd have fun. Oh, look at that. And so sometimes we put a little paper plate. We just tear a little paper plate, put it on a string, the wind would catch it, and you could see that paper plate going all the way up. And we challenged to see how many plates you could have. And then after a while, we'd get pretty bored, and we let the kites go as far as we can. And then we said, wouldn't it be fun if we just broke the string and let the kites pucker loose and see how far they go? And then we say, okay, then we make a little bet. See whose kite is going to fly the farthest. And we would say, okay, ready, everybody's ready. Pucker loose. And a kite would take off. And the string would be dragged with. And it would go. I think we, at Halaula, we went on our bikes and we went on the road and we could see the kites. And it went all the way till almost Iole. That was like almost a mile away. I mean, the kites were high and the winds were strong. So that's some of the experience I remember growing up. So that's what it was like. And plantation life, to me, it was simple. We're all well-fed. We were modest families, and nobody were millionaires. And we used to have this area where the plantation managers, the engineers, the chemists, all of the managers, and we called that Haole camp. Haole meant foreigners. And so the Haole camp, and Mr. Pratt was the manager, and I remember Mr. Gandol, Edney family and the Southwicks, Cowdeys and the Bowmans, they were all up there. And then there was Halula up camp, Halula down camp. And so the other thing I liked growing up and was a freedom to roam. Cane fields don't need fences. They don't need gates. So we could go, really, for 15, from Mahokona to Pololu. It was all plantation roads. And we were free to wander and play anywhere. Our favorite snack was the chewed cane. We never had fast foods. We only had that coffee shop. There was no McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. And we ate off the land. We knew where the guava trees were. We knew what guavas were sweet, what guavas were sour. There was always cane. In fact, we'd play games with them. We'd see who could peel the cane the fastest, And we'd all get the same size cane. Okay, everybody measured. Okay, yours is the same. Everybody got the same size cane. Right. Same thickness. Okay, we all got the same size cane. Ready, go. And see how fast we could peel it. And then we'd chew it. For swimming, we had the reservoirs. There was a lot of reservoirs that the plantation kept full of water with flumes to fill them up to irrigate the cane, and that became our swimming pools. And then there was those ditches, big ditches where the water flowed into the reservoirs, and we'd swim. That's where I learned to swim. In this one reservoir we call Koi Pond, because there were a lot of koi. There was actual carp in the pond, huge carps. And I remember Alfredo Rita would get his father's net. And when the reservoir was low and shallow, it was easy to drag a net and catch carp. I mean, really huge carp, and they're strong. They're one of the strongest fishes you ever saw. And so we call it Koi Pond. And that's where we swam. Then we made canoes. Get an old tin roof, bend it, put a 2x4 in the front, and put a big piece of wood in the back, nail it. Then we get a railroad tie, put it underneath, nail it down. That became like a rudder, a keel. Yeah, like a keel was a railroad tie. And we pound that down, and we made outriggers out of 2x4s. And we got tar from this water tank, we call it White Tank, 2 huge water tanks that were further up in the village. And around that was this black tar. And when it was warm, we could just dig up the tar. So we used that tar and we made canoes. And so we didn't have any, park and recreation playgrounds. We went and played ourselves on our grounds. And we went fishing. Made our own bamboo poles. There was no fishing store where you could buy, the store did have, fishing hooks and lead and fishing line. But we made our own bamboo, and we learned how to cure the bamboo. We actually went to Halava, cut our own bamboo, came home, made a little fire, and then bent the bamboo to straighten it out and put it on top of the house so the sun would get it and it would dry nice and straight. And we made our own bamboo. And then we walked down to the Kohala lighthouse with a kapanai and hapu and did some fishing. That was our favorite fishing grounds was by the lighthouse. And our favorite swimming area was at Kapanaya because it was a little bay, calm. And so, growing up in Kohala, was not only safe and secure, but it was a lot of fun. Safe fun. Our own kind of fun. We had no swimming pools, but we learned to swim in the reservoirs. We had no fun and games, we made our own games. I remember we used to have and I forgot, out of the clothespin, you could make a pea shooter, and the spring, and we made our own tops, and we played marbles, and we played with yo-yos and spinning tops, and made our own kites. It was great. It was really great. So I spent about half an hour just telling you about the time I was a kid, but those were happy memories for me, very happy memories. And so growing up in Kohala was a beautiful place, a lot of good friends. And a lot of my friends by now, by the way, they're all gone. There are not too many people who were like me, born in 1935. And that's when the plantations were consolidating. The 7 plantations became one plantation. And it stayed that way for over 100 years. Over 100 years. So I remember that very well.